Welcome back everybody to another one in my aviation history series, and this is episode 40 on my history of the RCAF. Now in today's video we're going to be looking at the history of 437 Squadron. Now it was formed in World War II as a transport unit and has been a transport unit for its entire life, continuing today in that role. Now as always, before we get too far into this, my name is Sean and this is Sean's Aviation. 437 Squadron was formed on September 14th of 1944 at RAF Blacken Hill Farm as the RCAF's 32nd unit formed overseas. The unit was tasked with general transport duties. It's assigned the squadron code as Z2 and were equipped with Dakota aircraft. Now only 3 days later, on September 17th, the unit participated in its first mission, and it was a big one. 15 aircraft were dispatched to take part in Operation Market Garden, the raid on Arnhem. 12 Horsa gliders were released over the target, containing 146 men of the British 1st Airborne Division, which included 16 bicycles, 10 motorcycles, 5 jeeps, 6 trailers, 2 handcarts, 4 Blitz buggies, and 3 wireless sets. It's quite a start for a new transport unit. In the days and weeks after that mission, the unit was involved in resupply of the forces involved in Market Garden as well as other units on the continent. On March 22nd of 1945, the unit was once again involved in a large-scale operation when it dropped 24 Horsa gliders as part of Operation Varsity, the crossing of the Rhine River. Now, these gliders contained 230 men of the 1st Royal Ulster Rifles, also included 13 jeeps with trailers and 6 jeeps with 6-pounder guns. On May 7th, 1945, the unit relocated to the continent, being based at B-75 in Nivelles, Belgium. On June 7th, they moved to B-58, Malzebrook, Belgium. Starting in early 1945, with the change in the squadron code system, 437 adopted the new squadron code of ODO. When the war in Europe ended, the unit continued to serve, providing valuable transport services for the Canadian units that remained in Europe in the immediate post-war years. On August 1st, the unit relocated again to B-56 Aver, Belgium, and then on November 15th, they moved back to England, being based at RAF Oldham. The squadron's last mission was flown on May 30th, 1946, when aircraft ODO-K flew from Brussels to Oldham with 6 passengers, 300 pounds of mail, and 3,024 pounds of freight. The unit was formally disbanded on June 15th of 1946. During World War II, the unit flew 32,355 operational hours across 11,625 sorties. Now, there's no record of how much material the unit carried during the war, but in those immediate post-war years, they flew 152.3 tons of mail, 1,415.3 tons of freight, and 25,269 passengers. The unit suffered 14 aircraft lost, with 2 crew killed, 14 missing, and 1 wounded. While many of the other transport units were reformed in the immediate post-war years to support the growing RCAF, 437 was not stood back up until October 1st of 1961, being located at RCAF Station Trenton. The unit was formed with the sole purpose of operating the CC-106 Yukon. This was a modification of the Bristol Britannia airliner built by Canadair and was procured to replace the North Star in the long-range strategic transport role. 437 was kept busy flying material and personnel back and forth across the Atlantic in support of the Sabre and CF-100 units based in Europe. In 1968, the unit was absorbed into the merged Canadian forces. The unit had 12 aircraft assigned, 5 were configured for passengers, 5 configured for freight, and 2 for VIP. Now, these VIP aircraft were used for high-ranking government officials as well as the royal family while they visited Canada. The CC-106 was a great aircraft, loved by crews and passengers alike, and easily could have stayed in service for longer except for 2 issues. Spares were hard to come by as the aircraft were not built in large numbers, and the CAF was in need of an air-to-air refueler, and the CC-106 was not able to be converted for this role. So this led to the retiring of the Yukon in 1971, and the unit re-equipped with 5 CC-137 Huskies, the RCAF version of the Boeing 707. 2 of the 5 of 707s were equipped with Beechcraft-built hose and drogue refueling pods under the outer wings, but it is worth noting that those pods could be moved around, and so the 2 airframes that were configured would vary as the pods were swapped. Now, this need was specifically brought in to help support the CF-5. It was considered too cost prohibitive to have these aircraft based directly in Europe, and they were unable to quickly deploy without air-to-air refueling, so a dedicated air-to-air refueling aircraft was required in order to ensure the CF-5 units could deploy to Europe in the case the Cold War went hot. So 427 continued to support the forces in Europe, providing scheduled passenger service and cargo across the Atlantic, as well as the refueling missions for both the CF-5 and the new CF-18s when they were sent on deployment. By the early 1990s, it was clear that they were nearing the end of their life, and a replacement was sought out. In 1992, the opportunity was presented to purchase 5 ex-Ward Air A310s, and this was followed through on, and those becoming the CC-150 Polaris in Canadian service. All 5 airframes were assigned to 437 Squadron, with 4 being converted to combi freighters and 1 being used as VIP airframes. Though 3 of the 707s were retired in 1995, and 2 were kept online as tankers until they were retired in 1997. The CC-150s were used in the same manner as the 707s, providing strategic troop and cargo movements around the world. Now, in 2008, 2 of these airframes were converted into tankers, using an Airbus-designed hose and drogue system consisting of pods under the outer wings. While the RCAF had C-130 tankers, they were unable to provide the long-range strategic air-to-air refueling capability, and these CC-150s were instrumental in supporting CF-18 deployments. Now, one CC-150 can carry all the support personnel and provide fuel for 4 CF-18s on a deployment across the Atlantic. Like all good things, the CC-150s were getting a bit long in tooth, and in 2002 it was announced that the RCAF would be receiving 9 CC-330 aircraft based on the A330 airframe. This would consist of 5 aircraft sourced on the used market, with 2 being VIP and 3 to be converted to MRTT tankers, and 4 new-built airframes from Airbus, also in MRTT configuration. Now, all 9 aircraft are planned to be assigned to and operated by 437 Squadron. The CC-330 is officially called the Husky, which is a nod to not only the squadron's nickname, but as well as the name of the CC-137, the Boeing 707s that they used to fly. Now, I personally feel it's a bit of a lazy way of doing things, but I mean, at least the name has something historical. It isn't, it's apolitical and that kind of stuff. So I'll give them that. However, I thought, there could have been a better name, especially with the 350, the CC-150, the A310s being called the Polaris. I feel like there was something else you could have done in there with navigation and stars and come up with a really unique name. But anyways, that is just my personal opinion. Now, the addition of the A330 to the RCAF fleet is going to greatly increase its ability. Not only is it have longer range, more carrying capacity, it also has significantly more fuel on board, whereas the 310s were limited within the amount of fuel they could offload. The 330 carries significantly more, and hence is a lot more able to perform these missions. Now, the MRTT conversions that we're getting, as I said, there's going to be 4 brand new built and 3 to 4 converted from the used aircraft we buy. Those aircraft will have both the flying boom and the current hose and drogue on the wingtips. Now, the flying boom required for our purchase of the F-35, but that also opens up a whole new door for supporting other NATO countries. Any other nation that flies the A330, flies the F-35, it opens the RCAF up to supporting U.S. Air Force missions, which up till now has not been able, which also greatly increases our ability to partake in NORAD missions. But you've also got the ability to fuel other aircraft, things like the C-17, things like the potential P-8, the P-8. That's not potential, we are getting the P-8, but there's also the potential for early warning aircraft, specifically rumors of a Wedgetail. Those also have the ability to be fueled in air. So it greatly increases the RCAF's future potential to partake in large multinational missions, whether it be training or operational. It's a huge game changer for the RCAF. I don't think people understand how much more this will bring to the RCAF as a whole. It's a force enhancer. It's amazing. I don't know if you can tell how excited I am. It's just amazing to think of where we're going with these in the future. But anyways, all that being said, 437 is going to be a significant partner and a significant part of the RCAF for many years to come, and continuing to live that legacy that they started in World War II. Now, on that note, we are going to wrap up this video. So thank you all for watching. We'll see you all next time.